Wonderful seeing you today again. You're welcome to 700 Grace Foundation. This is where your happiness is our joy. My name remains Peace Godwin, and together with me in the studio is
Jet.
Kayode. Right, they've mentioned their name, and I've also mentioned, and if you're just joining us for the first time, you're on to 700 Great Foundation. This is where we bring out the work of God. This is where we make others happy with our beautiful, lovely programs. Before we begin the program in full, the discussion in full, we'd love to go for a short timeout. Stay tuned.
Inú mara àánú gbà ọ́, ojú ò ní tì, ọ̀pọ̀ ìbàdàn ọba kò ní sáyín lẹ́sẹ̀, iléeṣẹ́ yóò wà ní jóná, ẹni ráre o, àwọn ọmọ tí náà ráàánú gbà ọ́, ọlá aláwọ̀lá wà lápáta ìlàbílà ilẹ̀ àṣẹ.
Right, she prays that the Lord will uphold us and uphold our children and protect us from every form of danger, and as we've shown mercy to them, that the Lord will also obtain mercy from the Lord in all that we do in Jesus' name. Amen. Welcome back. This is 700 Great Foundation, and like I said earlier before we went for that short break, today we want to discuss godlitics. Godlitics. Well, sounds familiar like politics, but godlitics. To begin with, let's ask, what is godlitics? This actually means God at the center of politics. Now, how does God come into politics?
You know, the author of politics is God. Okay. Politics itself has the highest and purest form. It's the heart of ordering society for justice, peace, and the common good. But when we trace it back to its true source, we discover something profound, that God himself is the author of politics. Human governance, authority, and leadership, and their origin and legitimacy in God's design is sovereignty. Okay. According to the Bible, it shows us that God cares deeply about the nations, about the rulers, the policies, not merely as neutral structure, but as instrument to reflect his character, righteousness, and compassion.
That's your own understanding of godlitics, okay? God at the center. But you know, the word godlitics is, I will say it's crafted. It's a two-word. You have the God and the litic. Okay? Of course, we all know that God is God. There's no other name. Though there might be different names, other nations, other tribe calls it. But when you talk about litics, it's been crafted into the word God. So when we say godlitics, are we actually talking about God in politics, as God as the origin of politics, or what? I don't know if...
Okay, let me come in from there.
Okay.
Actually, ordinarily, there are two words, God and politics.
Okay.
We know that politics is about leadership, decision making, and governance.
Okay.
Now, when you involve God in what you are doing as a politician, that is when you are putting God at the center of it, knowing that God is the authority.
Exactly, the authority.
He has authority over everything.
Okay.
So that's just
okay. God at the center of everything. Now, what you're trying to say is, from what she said and from what you said, that God is the center of humanity, irrespective of your activities. God is at the center of it, be it politics, finance, marriage.
I can also put it in a way like this. When you see God, when you see it as a service to God and not to humanity, and not for any selfish reason. Okay. That's what
I'm not expecting anything in return.
That's what we are playing politics.
God in politics.
Now, let me ask, as a Christian, because I can recall some times ago when I was reading my Bible, I came across this man called Moses. His name Moses, and he did a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly.
He did a lot of things. So like that kind of person, can we actually say it is God and it is politics? As a leader, you're saying as a leader, you must lead by example.
Exactly.
Being
self-giving love.
Okay, self-giving love. selfless,
Exactly.
selfless love, like not minding what others
are saying.
That's not sacrificial. I don't think I can do that. Give myself. I'm not Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's by the way. I don't know. Do you have something to say about that? Any other example? Just to
the way God designed. If we look at the design from the beginning, even through the Bible, discover that God has placed has appointed some special people into special positions. Just for us to learn from them. And many of these prophets, like Moses, I just mentioned, like Daniel, are the people that we are reading and we are learning from their exemplary life. Now, I would say that he's got a politician. I don't have a very good answer for that. But one very good example that I can say is looking at David, for example. When God wanted to appoint David, he only instructed Samuel to go to the house of Jesse. So when he got there, he called all his sons, and he was calling them one by one. It was until he finished with everybody, and he said, "Who else is in this house?" Which means there is an appointment. God needed a person in particular for that particular job. So that's why I would say that fine, God is the author of everything. So God is involved directly or indirectly involved in politics. So for God to have appointed David for that special assignment,
God knows about it.
The reason why he's doing that. So I would say that God has designed some special people for some special tasks. So
what I can deduce from what you've just said is that God has an assignment for each person at each position. So this does not necessarily mean you are the first to get there or the last to get there. But as long as you are destined, you are predestined for that particular assignment. A calling. Okay. Now, we've talked about Moses. I still want us to touch little about Moses, though he's an example of, he's a theologian. He's an example of God in human form, because like I said earlier, reading my Bible, you hear God speaks, like he speaks to God one-on-one, and he was being led by God to do some things. Now, like you rightly mentioned that he's milk, he is humble, he doesn't see himself as, no, I can't imagine raising a child from a wealthy home and the child decides to say, oh, I don't mind this home, I'm going to a very low background, going to the slum, where you have different, in fact, the person can be exposed to different things. But notwithstanding, this Moses went there to show how, like, let me say, he understood. He said calling, he understood what God gave to him. Now, can we, I want more, for the purpose of those that are watching us, I'm sure we all know this, but there are still some there that really do not understand. Like, what can we really say that God called Moses to do? What is that particular thing?
Let me come in. Now, one major reason why God called Moses was to free the Israelites from slavery. Now, it's actually a calling, and it's something that is actually spiritual because it involves God. But at that, Moses still needs some skills. Like he still needs some skills, like justice, being upright. Now, upholding the law and doing leading by what? By example. So the major reason is just to free the Israelites from us.
And lead them to the promised land.
But unfortunately, he himself didn't even get there. Oh wow. That is the work of people.
You know, we humans used to complain a lot, and we are very stubborn.
May the Lord have mercy on us. Amen. This Adamic nature it's something that I've not really, I don't think I'm ready to come in terms with it, because when you talk about holiness, like we are saying, Moses actually led the children of Israel out of the pit into the palace. And I think the lessons there is that as a leader, this is what I think, you need to be humble. And patient too. And patient. You need to acknowledge God. Am I right?
Yes.
You need to acknowledge God in whatsoever you are doing. And I think what Moses gave, he gave up his royalty, he gave up the high estate, he never mind that his parents are not up to do. He does not care. He's just satisfied. He's content with what he has, with the people. He tried to identify himself with people that he liked. Okay, I think this is one great love. Can any of us do that? Can we show love to that extent that we just neglect? Maybe you are the top position. For instance, you are the president of your organization, or and you say, because I pity somebody that is a cleaner or an helper, let me exchange. Can we actually do that?
Yeah, sure.
Can we?
Yes, we can.
Let me ask you, it's a personal question. Can you actually, that you're talking, can you do that?
I can in some aspect.
Okay, let's take
that takes the grace of God.
Okay.
And the level of preparation.
Wow.
If you look at the life of Moses, God prepared Moses to some extent.
Okay.
Discovered that at some point he had to kill when he saw two Israelites and fight. Two Israelites and one Egyptian and fight. He killed the Egyptian and buried him. And in the other day, he was trying to meddle into a fight of two Israelites. And he said, "Do you want to kill us as you killed the Egyptians?" Now God was preparing him for that, but it was not yet time for him to do that. That's why he had to leave Egypt at that point. So it takes the grace of God and a level of preparation. Because if you are too forward, you might not be able to answer to that.
Exactly.
Wow. So you need patience in
Exactly.
time, related to time.
Exactly.
You need skills too,
and also need wisdom too.
And wisdom. Wow. Okay, this is getting interesting. All right. Now we're talking about love. We've mentioned it earlier that Moses gave his self. He volunteered. He said, "Yes, Lord, here I am." He answered God's call, and I think he was able to go through the process of the higher calling. Okay, now talking about the higher calling, in which other aspects can we have this higher calling? Because we're trying to talk about godlitics, that is God in politics, and I want to believe that politics itself does not only start. It's not just a federation thing. I think it starts from the home.
Exactly, it starts from the home.
It starts. Okay. Now, can let us talk briefly on the politics within the household.
How to love your neighbors, how to live with peaceful, how to live in peace, how to be patient in whatever we are doing. Exactly, and a lot of things, and from father it moves to the mother. So you know that we fathers used to go out to work and do exactly to feed the family. So it's the mother that we pass the message to the children, and so it depends on how we train them, how the father and the mother that's what the children will bring out. And
to show the kind of home
they are being.
Okay. Now, thank you for that. What about in a situation whereby you have two friends competing with each other, or a man that is married to two wives? How can we play politics in such a home, or politics in such a home, or between those friends?
Let me start with the normal biology.
Okay.
All of the characteristics of human being is actually competition. These days they don't put competition there. And which means a natural human being is in a nature of anybody to compete. Which means, and competition is actually more or less like politics. Why? Because it involves a lot of strategies, and so ordinarily in human nature, when you need something for yourself, you want to get it by all means. Now, when it comes to putting God into politics, now that's when you consider what God thinks first before what comes to your own mind. Now, in a family where you have two wives, when you have when in an extended family, let me put it in that way. Now, it takes a level of it takes the grace of God, like I said the other time. It takes the grace of God. Now, when you have a lot of people, now it takes the grace of God. That's number one. And number two, when we talk of politics, like living an exemplary life. Now, it takes the head to live a life of a worthy life that others will follow. Now, part of what we are facing in this country is because some of our parents, some of our leaders are not living the right way, and others are followers also are following their paths. Now, but if the head is able to live a very good life, live an exemplary life, it's going to be easy for the other people in the family to follow suit. But once the head is faulty, you know, when you pour water on your head, it flows from the head to the body.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So when your children, when the wives, when they see that, okay, this person is living a very good life, they will follow. It will be very easy for you to correct. And also, it's very, because, for example, children like to follow example. At least the first thing that they will do in any family, they will look at what you are doing and they want to do the same. Now, once they discover that, okay, this is what my dad is doing, this is what my mom is doing, and it's nice, it will be easy for you to correct them. But if not, it will be difficult. If the family is not as standing in love, it will actually be difficult to make any balance in that.
Talking about balance, I'm not a Bible scholar and I'm also a Bible scholar. That might sound a little funny. And the reason why I said so, since we are discussing godlitics and we are using these biblical examples, leaders like Daniel, like Moses, I want just to quickly bring out the draft there. Like Moses balanced it up.
Exactly.
He never mind when God sent the children out. Some of the Egyptians followed him. Then talking about Daniel too, I think Daniel tried to balance it up. Although he's a captive, he was, something happened and he had to leave his own country. So he went outside.
Even Joseph too.
He went outside. He doesn't mind that, okay, this is not my home. He still remained faithful. I think that's another character of a leader. You should be faithful to that good works that God has handed over to you. And you talked about the grace. Yes, the grace is there. But I think as a leader who believes that God is calling him or God has called him to do a particular thing, this person should be able to stay committed, stay faithful to that very calling. Because if Daniel had not been faithful to himself, to serving his God, I don't think he'll be able to get to that position that he got to. Number two is that I don't think Daniel will be convenient for him because it's a strange land. Imagine from a northern tribe coming to a southern tribe and speaking their language. Being a leader there, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
Because that's not his own territory. So it means he has done something. He has done something, and I want to believe he would have gone through a lot in his or her own place before coming there. Okay, it's all right. I think we really enjoyed ourselves with this short discussion. And before we wrap it today, I wouldn't know if we have maybe a word or two.
What you said, my own conclusion,
okay,
is when God is at the center of politics, politics became a channel of God's grace, truth, generosity. Godly politics is not about power for its own sake, but it's about giving, building up people and nation according to God's wills. And don't in politics as a leader, I won't say that we should do things with love and not expecting anything in returns. Like 700 Great Foundation, they are giving out to people, to the needy. They're giving a lot of things, food, clothes, to the needy, without expecting anything in return. So my advice is for us to do things without expecting anything in returns.
Okay, what about you?
I just want to conclude by saying that if you want to lead, make sure that you have the fear of God. And you are doing whatever you are doing for God's sake, just like she has said. And not for the sake of your pocket, or your family, or your loved ones. Just for the sake of God.
For today is, God is the center of humanity. God is the center of every activity you do. Make sure you acknowledge him. Love God the way you loved your neighbor, the way you loved yourself. And don't forget that in any position you are, it is by the grace and mercy of God that he has given to you to be there. Whatsoever thing you're doing, be humble, be meek, be giving. use that privilege, that position as an opportunity to reach out to those who are not, who doesn't have, to show charity, which is the core of Christian value. Until next time when we shall meet again, I remain your humble peace, Godwin. Stay blessed.
Thank you for watching us wherever you are. We find happiness in the happiness of others. Your happiness brings us joy. All courtesy to 700 Great Foundation. Thank you.